Hello and welcome to Dialogue and welcome to the Year of Horse. I'm Yang Rui. As you can see, we are mounting a special program to mark the Year of Horse and of course, the special animal. For centuries, the horse has played a major role in Chinese history and culture. But why the horse? What has made the animal so important and meaningful?
Speed, power, and stamina. These virtues make the horse a unique driving force in human history. For nearly 5,000 years, the horse has been an ever-present ally in times of war and peace. Civilizations have risen and fallen on their backs, and they've been celebrated in history and mythology. In Greek mythology, it's the winged divine stallion that helped to defeat a monster and transform it into the constellation Pegasus. In Chinese literature, it's General Guan Yu and his steed Red Hare, which leapt moats and climbed mountains in the stories Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And Genghis Khan's favorite Fergana horse, with its legendary blood sweat, is still hailed as the most precious horse in the world. The horse also led to the beginning of major contact between East and West, and the opening of the famous Silk Road. With the Industrial Revolution and technological progress, especially in transportation, the horse may have diminished in practical importance in modern China, but the spirit of the horse still runs deep throughout Chinese culture.
Today we are happy to be joined here by Michelle Wang, General Manager of the EQUULEUS International Horse Riding Club of Beijing. What particular affections do you have for a horse?
After 14 years, with horses, I always tell my friends, just come over and to see these horses. You'll be attracted immediately with their beauty. They are so handsome. When they move, you see the movement drives, you see the muscle of their body, you'll be attracted immediately.
Now, what's the spirit of equestrianism?
The spirit. I've been thinking this for years. And some people think it's really noble, it's really for rich and high rank people. But I always think, it's a spirit for the cavaliers, for the riders, for the noble people. But they must be first responsible, they must be really brave, and they must be able to communicate with the silent animal, the horses. It's not really just only rich people or only that high-rank people can deal with.
I'm very curious as to how you communicate with your horse.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular language?
Yeah, this language, we call them aids, means your seats, the legs, and the signals from your hand. That's really subtle. It's a whole set of signals that...
When I raise this question, Michelle, immediately what crosses my mind is the body language between two lovers.
Yes.
They kiss, they hug, and they give body language to convey their particular affections for each other. Yeah. Do you have a similar way of communicating with the horse?
Besides these signals, these aids, you must be really understanding the emotion of the horses, because their life, their animals, they are different from day to day. And maybe today they are really bored, or they're really tired, or they're really, crossed. So you must be able to feel their emotion. And it's like, you can say they're like two, lovers. You can say they are like partners. They must to work together and to tolerate each other to achieve a certain
I believe
goal.
A horse, which is of course a beautiful animal, must have its own moods.
Yes.
It could be happy, it could be cheerful, it could be angry, it could lose its temper.
Yeah.
Now, in that case, can you easily understand the fluctuations of the moods so that you will leave it alone, when you deal with your family members, you understand immediately the changes in the feelings?
I think only good riders, and only the riders, they are responsible, and they feel for the horses can do this, and they really know the horses, they can do this. The ones that they think the horse is only an animal, only is the one that I he just need to do what I told him to do, will not really understand this kind of feeling.
You were a horse riding supervisor at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Now, what can you tell us about the level of the Chinese horse riding competition?
I was working for the 2008 Olympic as the equestrian supervisor. At that time, China was the host country, and only at that time, so far, we have show jumping riders of a team qualified because of the advantage of as a host country, and we have one dressage rider and an eventing rider qualified. But after that, we are not really able to qualify. We have no riders so far.
Athletes in which Asian countries could give us better performance in the competition? The Japanese, the Koreans, or the Mongolians?
I think now Koreans and Japanese, they have some riders that have the Olympic level, because I think the level of the sports really connected with the economic level. Yeah, they can support their riders to get trained in Europe for many years, and they can afford really expensive competition horses.
Do you foresee the Chinese riders could give a better performance during the run-up to the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo? We have basically 6 years to go. Do you think the Chinese authorities would spend more training Chinese athletes and preparing them for the Tokyo Olympic Games?
I think maybe this sport really relies on the private people. The authorities, I think they can organize, but really the power is from the society.
This is really European equestrian. It's the European tradition, European history, despite the aspects of a Mongolian culture.
It's really a complicated problem. It's really a big topic, and I think now people realize, and more people, like private people, they are really interested in the modern equestrian sports.
Is that a matter of a lifestyle?
It's a lifestyle, and people really willing to learn and to ride and to compete internationally, but it really requires money.
Does the horse riding require an equilibrium between your intellectual and physical strength?
Yes, that's for sure. But like I said, it's you must be brave. It's not a sport for everybody, but it's for brave people. It's really for a noble people with the bravery heart, with the lion's heart.
I enjoyed very much a conversation with you about the horse culture. 2014 would be a very inspiring and a warm year for me to know more about the horse culture. And I thank you very much for being part of our dialogue.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Following my very enlightening interview with Michelle Wang, General Manager of the club, I was able to interview a few horse owners and horse riders and invite them to make comments on the spirit of a horse and what it means to have such a beautiful animal in the year of the horse. So stay with us for more of such interviews. Welcome to Dialogue, Roland. What does the symbol of a horse mean for you in your life?
Well, I started riding horses when I was very small. So for me it means liberty, strength, discipline, and surprises, because a horse is a very lively animal, and you always have surprises when you ride a horse.
I've been riding a horse for about 4 years. Throughout the 4 years, I've developed a very strong relationship with my horse and horses in general. I think horses are great. Because they are very simple-minded. You treat them nice, they just reward you. And they can teach you a lot of things which you can apply in your daily life. Overall, throughout the 4 years, I've learned a lot from my horses. I feel like I'm a better person because of horses. Now the horse year is coming. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to talk about horses.
Welcome to Dialogue, Madam SYLVETTE. Now, what's your interpretation of the spirit of equestrianism or a horse itself?
A horse itself, a horse can be a companion. You are doing something together. So you have to communicate a little bit with him. Just like when we meet, we say hello. You can say hello to a horse. When a horse does something good, you can give him some, goodies. You give him a little bit of carrots, you give him a little bit of sugar, you give him a pat on the neck, say, yes, that was good, thank you. And you make him feel that you are happy. They are extremely sensitive animals. They really can feel how you feel. The relationship between horses and rider is something which can be absolutely wonderful. And I believe even in horse jumping, you cannot go to a high competition if you don't have a relationship with your horse. Because he is doing everything for you. He has to be able to react upon your very simple things, and you have to communicate with them. So it's a daily relationship.
Tiger. In the Olympic Games, we were impressed by shoe jumping.
Yeah.
Now, what's special about that event?
Because it's kind of, it's a very, what I say is aggressive competition between the horses and also capability of the riders. Because of course, they have different character and natures. And then some horses, they are very energetic, ambitious to come over the defense or the ox. But some horse, you probably need to receive more encourage and the message from the riders. So that's the reason why, this is really competition between the horses and the riders, their capability. Another reason is that, you can see the defense level is that high. It's a 5-star game. So the defense is very high. So it's a great challenge for both horses and riders to challenge their, confidence, and then also challenge their capability, give them the trust feeling between them, and also trust the override their capabilities sometimes. So it's really like, the people likes to see that in a more way. It's both enjoy from the audience and also the rider.
Mr. Baker, today we have increasingly more such clubs for the rich to have horse riding. How do you look at the culture of horse in this country?
Of course, horses are native to Mongolia, and the Mongolians have a very long relationship with horses, I believe. I think in other parts of China, maybe because of the climate or maybe because of the land, maybe the horses were not as popular as other parts of China. But I think China has a fairly long relationship, even out in Xinjiang. The people there have a long relationship with horses as well.
From your perspective, what's the spirit of a horse or a spirit of equestrianism?
I think it's something that, one of the good things about show jumping like what we have here is that it's something that people can do for many years, and you never really actually ever perfect what you're doing. So it's something that if you have a passion, you can go and do it until you're in your 50s or 60s. As I recall in the Olympics in Hong Kong in 2008, I think the winners were all middle-aged people. They're not young kids like we see in diving or swimming or other athletic pursuits, but they're older people, because it takes that long to perfect yourself in your relationship with an animal.
New shipping hub in Northeast Asia, reaching the world from Northeast China, port of Dandong.
A happy year of the horse from Dandong Port Group.
Andrew, in the early 1990s, I was told a story by a British playwright. Once a cop is riding a horse in the street of London, and if the animal tumbled on something and the cop fell from the horse, then people in the street would immediately go to the animal instead of the police officer. Now, what does that tell us?
Yes, I can well imagine that. And I think it's true today, right up to this moment, that if the same thing happened, people would instinctively rush to help the horse. And I think that's, as I say, it's an instinct because it reflects how important the horse has been to British culture, to British industry, to the British war effort, not over the centuries, over the eons, going way back into ancient history. The horse has been an essential part of mankind's nature, mankind's survival.
Does that reflect the story about the British image is Pride and Prejudice?
Well, yes, I'm not going to. I'm going to disagree with my learned colleague here a little bit. I think the instinct is to run towards something that is understandable. The underdog. It's the horse is basically
the horse is the underdog.
Yes, the horse is the underdog. The horse is it's a simplified. It's just like a child. It's something you go to instinctively because you see it as even more powerful.
I would disagree. It's because if you think about it, if you think of even in a family, that horse is probably more essential to a family than a member of that family. Because without the horse being able to work, without the horse being able to transport them, then that family is nothing.
But we're talking about in today's terms, and no one is using a horse to work or anything like that. These are the playthings of the mostly very, very wealthy people.
But I think it's so well ingrained now.
But excuse me, gentlemen, in the Year of the Horse, on the program of dialogue, we need to help viewers develop a deeper understanding about this animal, not only from the perspective of history, but first of all, what's your immediate understanding of the spirit that the horse represents? Not only just in the competition of the Olympic Games, but when you look at the image of the horse itself, what's the immediate appeal?
The immediate appeal is elemental. The horse is, by working with man, makes man greater than he is by himself. It's the power, the speed,
and
horses,
the grace.
And the grace. But the point is, through the horse, nations were won and lost. All right? These became not only warlike symbols of defense and attack, but also economic. Through the horse, you were able to transport heavier loads across countries. Roads were developed. These things were essential to the development of the modern economy, and they have existed for thousands of years.
The modern mankind itself. And I think that's why, when you think what are the essentials for mankind's survival, it's basics like water, it's basics like crops. And if you think about over the ages how we actually put magic into water, put magic into crops, in the same way we put magic into horses. So it's not just an animal, it becomes much more than an animal.
The spiritual symbolism of horses really extended from the power that we get from them. The idea that we can hop on a horse and with other horsemen take our weapons and conquer other people. This becomes the essence of power.
But it's more than warfare. It's more than warfare. It's about, as I said earlier, it's about the very survival of mankind.
But the United States possesses the biggest population of horses in the world. China is immediately next to your country.
Yes, I think there's about 10.7 million horses in the U.S. and 6.8 million in China.
Does it represent this frontier spirit in the history of the U.S.?
You know, it's interesting. Today, I think the working breed, the number of horses that are actually used for working has diminished quite a bit. Whereas in China, you're starting to see this influx now of what are in essence hobby horses, horses like this that are for pure pleasure. I think the vast majority of horses in China are actually still used for working purposes.
When we look at what it means for China in the Year of the Horse, 2014, last year we got the 7.7 GDP growth rate, and I hate to draw such an association between the animal and the image of China in the new year ahead, but how brutal is it for China to maintain the current speed?
Well, it depends what sort of horse. I mean, you can have a cart horse.
Of course, a thoroughbred.
I mean,
Thoroughbred would be
You can have a
best.
thoroughbred that goes like a rocket, or you can have a cart horse that plods along. Perhaps China's sort of coming back to the cart horse.
We have to
for
hold
time
back
being.
the horse a little bit because we are developing
Exactly.
too fast. And that's
I think you have to look at the astrology of the year of the horse, where horses are strong and impetuous, all these things, but the dangers for a horse is that they rush into things and that they're very stubborn. And I think that this is something that China can learn in this particular year. There are a lot of things that are problematic in the South China Seas, especially with people like Abe who are waving the war flag. And it is time for China to step back, not rush headlong.
What does the domestication of an animal like a horse mean for us? Is it a tragedy? Is it a blessing? Because if you look at the shoe jumping in the competition, it seems that the horse has become a plaything instead of being a warrior in the battlefield.
No, but interestingly, let's make this point first. When you were talking about warfare. In fact, the show jumping, the 3-day eventing, the modern equestrian sports are actually based on warfare. They're based on what that horse had to do when it was in a combat.
But most of the time the horse is confined to solitary confinement. I mean, isn't that something bad to cage the horse spirit?
You're not caging the horse business. You've domesticated it. You've put it under your control. This is what man has always striven to do. Why do we have cars, tanks, automobiles, planes? These things make us more powerful. We are in control of them. It is our effort to try to create dominion over the natural world, a dominion that we cannot achieve through our personal strength, but through our brains, through our abilities.
But it's only recently where actually we've been putting horses in stables like this. When every family or extended family would have a horse, it would come home with them and would actually enter the home or be very close by to the home. My own great uncle was a coal miner who looked after the pit ponies. He brought the pit ponies back to his home because they became part of his family.
Don't you think the horse has been left marginalized with the social progress today? Because centuries ago, horses helped emperors conquer other nations. Since the domestication of a horse in northeastern China, this beautiful animal has led to the creation and prosperity of a nation. And if you look at how the nomadic nations have conquered China, particularly in the Yuan and the Qing dynasties. So what do you think of, say, this comprehensive image of a horse?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back further than Yuan dynasty. It goes right back to the Shang dynasty, going back to sort of 1500 BC. It was the Shang dynasty that created chariot warfare. They mastered the chariot. And it wasn't until going back into the new millennia in about 300 AD, you then got the single rider on a single horseback and chariots became obsolete. And they were, as you said, because once you mastered the horse, and as you said, they became such an essential part of the war machine.
But they're a delivery vehicle, okay? And I mean that. At the time that they were developed, they were the leading things. First it was chariots. Then they developed special kinds of harnessing that goes around the belly and chest that allows the horse to move more freely. They can pull heavier loads.
Which was developed in China.
It's developed in China. They developed the stirrups, the strips, the belly belts and things like this.
Yeah.
These were all technological advancements. Sometimes they were used for war, sometimes for commerce. But the horse has been such an enduring symbol of both of these things. The way that man creates power and wealth, all right, extends dominion, is greater than he can be just by himself. And this spirit has gone onward. I mean, the spirit of the horse is now in the mechanical horse, in the jet.
Isn't it interesting, though, when we talk about cars now, the modern day of transport, we talk about horsepower. How much horsepower is it?
I think you guys have stayed in China for long enough to hear this expression, 龙马精神, spirit of a dragon and a horse. What do you think of the power of combining both the dragon, which flies in the sky, and the horse that runs on the ground? Andrew?
It was the same in Western culture, isn't it? That Western culture, particularly the Greeks, gave the horse wings so that he could fly, and took on these dragon-like qualities.
I saw the symbol in the Louvre Palace Museum in Paris. I mean, with the wings. That's beautiful. That's part of the Greek legendary story.
Pegasus, the winged horseman that took Theseus on to to battle the various monsters that were attacking the heavens. Yeah, I mean, this idea of mythological creatures. We had dragons in the West. They had different connotations than here in China. But the idea behind the dragon and the horse is in essence the same. It's always about power. All right, in this particular case, it's about good power, what horses can bring to you in terms of economic benefits, defensive, offensive capabilities, and the grace and power of these beautiful animals inspires people. The idea that I as an individual can hop on this massive horse whose power is 10 times mine, and I can control it. But not only do I control it, but the combination of myself and this animal is unique, all right? It's like there could be only one in this particular case. So you always have the sense that through a joining, through a symbiosis of myself and this horse, I create something unique and something more powerful.
Have you heard of this philosophical story, a white horse is not a horse? It's a fable, it's a dream.
It's a very Chinese dialogue. Yes, we're dealing with semantics. But yeah, why a white horse? Why did the Chinese choose a white horse to discuss this great philosophical notion of...
And a good-looking gentleman, right? Yeah. Oh, both of you, for the Chinese women, look like a white horse prince, right?
No, I think we look very similar.
Let's talk about the age of chivalry from Western Europe, and particularly France, particularly England, and the great medieval knights who were always on a horse, and that was associated with, as you say, being handsome, being elegant, and being very brave.
Being powerful. I once again bring it back to this idea. Here they were dressed in armor, they had big swords and warlike features. Their horses were massive, they would ride in, they were literally a tank powered by horsepower.
I mean, I would say the people now with their sports cars, what they're really doing is they're actually riding a very, very fast steed.
Yes, an extension. Now, one comment about your thing, when a horse is not a horse. I think it was the earliest discussion of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The idea that something can be there and not be there, that the cat is in the box, it is either alive or dead, but we don't know which, so it can be either.
It's a bit more than that as well. That it's actually, can a yellow horse be a horse? And it all comes down to the concept of being.
That's a horse of a different color.
Your question sounds like a black horse. Yeah. But I wonder if you have learned this Chinese expression, 马到成功. You're going to prevail the moment the horse arrives. So let's use this expression to give our blessing, our collective blessing to viewers, Chinese and foreign alike, in front of the television sets, okay? Right. Can you say the Chinese? 马到成功.
马到成功.
As I could say, happy horse, year of the horse. Happy year of the horse.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I do appreciate it. Thanks a lot, sir.
Real pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.